Hi everyone, it's Natalie from Own My Health, and today I am excited to talk to you about a topic around bridges. And I know we've all heard of the old adage that don't burn your bridges. That is to say, just in case, as you're proceeding on a new voyage or you're seeking a new goal or trying something for the very first time, or meeting new people, it's really important that you don't burn bridges, that you don't piss anybody off or annoy somebody, or do something that will crush a relationship, or basically you got a good thing, you don't know what's on the other side, so don't burn the bridges. Well, I'm here to tell you that I don't really believe that. And I actually wanted to talk a little bit about the idea of learning to constructively burn the bridges that have brought us to where we are today. And why I'm actually saying that, or contradicting the old cliche of don't burn your bridges, is that there's lots of historical metaphors, if you will, of people who have done this successfully. And I really believe that it isn't really a negative term. So if you actually go as far back as Hernan Cortez, who sort of landed on the Yucatan Peninsula, I guess, sort of discovered or conquered Mexico. When he first went there with, his men on ships, this was, obviously years and years ago, before superhighways, they would actually sail to these destinations, as they explored the lands and discovered new areas to conquer. They obviously were going through tumultuous seas and rocky situations and storms and crazy waves and all these things that you would imagine. And so by the time they landed in Mexico, you can probably, think of the people, or the men on his ships, that they were exhausted. They were tired, they were scared, they had no idea probably what was beyond the beaches that they had landed on, if there was savages or people who were going to kill them. And so you could probably imagine that a lot of them didn't want to leave the ship. A lot of them just wanted to go back home to what they know and what's familiar. And so the idea of you just walking out there and standing on the beach and going to this unknown place is something that would have really terrified a lot of people, including the people on Hernan Cortez's ships. So what did he do? Yes, he probably ended up trying to create a lot of motivating messages and encourage them to get off the boat and try this new place and explore the land. But he actually did something that was much more dramatic. And what he did was he burned the ships. So in case anybody was thinking about stowing away in the middle of the night to sail back with all their buddies to go back to where they came from, he preempted that by saying, there's no way back. I'm going to burn these ships. You have to stay here. We're now here. You've gone through all this crazy times, all the pain and suffering of this voyage to be here. You've got to be here now. So he burned the ships. A very similar thing happened with Alexander the Great when he conquered Persia. He also burned the ships. So what I'm actually suggesting to you here is that burning the ships, or burning the bridges to what got you here, is a really important part of getting and putting your, getting your goals, or satisfying the goals, putting that line in the sand, walking over that barrier onto the next place that you have actually worked so hard to get to. If you don't burn the bridge, you will always sort of partly be looking forward and partly looking backwards, and always looking at as being your lifeline, that, if things get a bit shaky, a bit rocky on this bridge, if the winds start to build up and I start to sway, or the waves start looking really scary underneath you and you don't know if you're going to fall, or you lose a little your balance, that you'll want to run back to where you came from if you don't burn the bridge. And so, some of the things that you can think about are some of your psychological and behavioral bridges that you've created as lifelines. Lifelines to prevent you from achieving your goals or getting to the next level or overcoming some of the barriers that have been presented in your life. These could be anything from things like, eating a lot of sugar, or, gambling or addictive shopping or drugs. They could be certain things that you do, like excessive gossiping or, getting lost in la la land on, sitting on video games all day or surfing through social media. They could be things like saying, as benign as saying yes to everything and everybody that asks you to do something. Or, feeling afraid of, speaking up or being bold or saying something that's disappointing you. Or perhaps it's staying in an abusive or a non-functioning relationship, either with people that are close to you or your spouse or your partner. All of these things are considered bridges. They're things that keep you fettered to the past, that keep you stuck or give you the lifeline of staying where you are and the excuse of not proceeding on to the new lands that you have set aside or you would wish or dream that you could have. So, just as a personal example about things that have happened for me as I have tried to go through my voyage of reaching a right-sized body and losing the body fat, is my bridge was that I had a belief that I did not have the right genetics, that I was somehow doomed to be in this body because no matter what I did, I used to work out ballistically 7 days a week, 2 hours a day, eating granola bars, which had a lot of sugar, by the way, in it, thinking that that was it. There was nothing I could do, and I just had to keep working on that treadmill every day just to keep what I had, which was not satisfactory. So my bridge was a belief system. It was a self-limiting thought process that would circulate in my head, this negative self-talk. As soon as I woke up in the morning, this was what presented to me. And so it was until I learned to burn the bridge, to burn that belief, to start setting and visualizing and focusing on the new beliefs. This actually started with affirmations that I'm a fat burning machine, that fat melts off my body easily and automatically. And I started to instill that over and over until eventually I got to the other side and was able to burn the bridge of that negative self-talk. So I encourage you today, as we talk about the idea of burning bridges, to think today about what is the bridges that are keeping you back. What are the things that are stifling your progress, of the things that are preventing you from moving ahead to aspiring to the new dreams and goals, for you to be able to take the massive action that you need to today to get you what you want and desire and what you want to manifest greatly in your life today? What are those bridges? So I encourage you to write those down on a piece of paper. Take some time to be quiet, go to a quiet place, go to a coffee shop, really get into your head, think deeply and say, what is it? So that would be step number one. Step number two would be going into a safe place, perhaps right over your sink, get a match or a barbecue lighter and actually crumple up that piece of paper and light it on fire. Obviously do this safely, you don't want to burn your house down, but you're doing it in sort of a ritualistic way, sort of metaphorically showing that you are burning the bridges. Everything that you wrote down on that piece of paper is a bridge, is a negative bridge, is a lifeline that's keeping you or fettering you or tying you to the past. So I encourage you to write those down, do a sort of a ritualistic burning of that, and then start to write down on a new piece of paper, step number 3, 1 or 2, maybe even 3 new bridges that you want to create in your life to get you to where you want to go. So step number 1, write your negative bridges. Step number 2, go through the process of burning that piece of paper. And step number 3 is, on a new piece of paper, record or write down what those new bridges are, and starting today, affirming those, reciting those, and visualizing them every day. So this is going to be a fun process. Burning the bridges is a good thing, and I encourage you all to do this, and I look forward to your comments. If you're enjoying some of these messages, I encourage you to subscribe or like this, and hoping all of you have a wonderful day. This is Natalie from Own My Health.